Hey there, I'm Karen Kosowski. Today we'll be talking about music production and about working with Mickey Guyton on her award-winning album. This past year has been really surreal. One of the artists that I work the most with, country artist Mickey Guyton, because of her, I got to go to the Grammys for the first time ever as someone who worked on a Grammy-nominated album. I got to compose the arrangement of the Star-Spangled Banner for the Super Bowl for Mickey to perform, and I got to perform it with her on the field playing piano. It was surreal. The place is wild, the energy is crazy. It's kind of like a dream, and then it happens and you kind of blink and it's gone. And then you think back and you go, I'm gonna remember that for the rest of my life. She's also invited me out to perform with her several of the songs that I've produced and written with her for many big events like the American Music Awards, the ESPYs, lots of things like that. So it's been pretty crazy, pretty wild, really rewarding. Working with an artist like Mickey Guyton is exciting for me as a creative. She's an artist who wants to go new places and push boundaries. Well, it was in my first year in Nashville. I got a call from Scott Sherrod at Rare Spark Publishing asking me if I would be interested in doing a writing session with his writer, Victoria Banks, and Mickey Guyton. Well, she came in and she was talking about really wanting to focus her message, and she'd really become clear on wanting to say something that was unique to her. My ears immediately perked up because it's so exciting to hear someone say that kind of stuff, and you want to dive into that. She hasn't been afraid to push boundaries, both subject matter-wise and genre-wise. I think it pushes me as a creative to want to find the best way to highlight that. I like it. As a creative person, it's not the same thing over and over and over. So I didn't realize that Mickey was about to become the trailblazer that she was when I first started working with her. So we were just writing these songs, and each song felt like it had a depth to it and a meaning. And it wasn't until February 2020, we had just written, a couple weeks before, a song called What Are You Gonna Tell Her? As we all know, that was also a year when we were all in lockdown. We got Mickey set up with a remote recording rig in her apartment, and then we were working over Zoom, and I was controlling her computer, and it was like she was in a vocal booth, several hundred miles away. And I mean, again, one of the things I really believe in is that an artist needs to feel as comfortable as possible to get the best performance out of them. She was, in some cases, lying on the floor in her bedroom while singing a vocal. I mean, how much more comfortable can you get, There were aspects of it that were fun, as long as we had a strong internet connection. This album with Mickey, the Remember Her Name album, was different in so many ways. We performed it for a bunch of music industry professionals, and that was a moment where I realized something's about to happen here. When I heard about the nominations, I couldn't believe it. I think I had to walk out of the studio and walk around the parking lot a couple times just to sort of bleed off the energy. I just couldn't believe it.
So you started working in Canada. Was the country scene over there compared to Nashville?
I spent a couple decades working up there, really trying to hone my skills. And I worked with country artists, I worked with pop artists, I worked with folk artists. I found that it was great because Canada's extremely supportive of the arts. It was a very nurturing situation. My work in Nashville started because I'm a songwriter as well, and so I started writing songs with artists in Nashville. And the funny thing was, the first band I ever produced from Nashville came up to Toronto to work with me, and we wrote a song and I produced it. And then it was after that I started making writing trips to Nashville, and I was really just connecting with the people that I was writing with and loving the music that we were making. So I realized that this is where I wanted to be. I'm primarily a keyboard player, but when I was a teenager, I picked up the guitar. I wanted to impress my boyfriend. and that kind of grew into me playing, electric guitar, acoustic guitar, any kind of stringed kind of things. I find that having a diverse wealth of instruments, they're all valuable when you're working with an artist. A lot of my first introductions to the artists that I go on to produce are through writing sessions. It's a great way to just get in a room together and test out the waters and see how we collaborate together. So I tend to prioritize writing with artists that I could potentially have a click with as a producer as well. creativity is an incredibly vulnerable thing. So I believe in setting a tone right off the top. From the very first time they walk in the studio, I want them to feel like it's a vibey space and it's safe and it's private, and they feel like they can just unleash their craziest, wildest, scariest creative ideas, especially in an industry where sometimes people want to put you in a box or, you know, have you follow a formula. And I want artists to come in and feel like they can just go wild. There's so many times where I just feel like I'm just little Karen from Winnipeg, Canada. Like, is this really ready for the Grammys, or is this ready for the Super Bowl? Can I do this, you know? Absolutely, every day. Those are my high notes. Thanks to the CMA for having me. And make sure you like and subscribe for more. I don't know, it's so hard. Let's say I did it well.